welcome to the hey, all you sports fans out there in the tubosphere, or to you, the individuals, part of the collective. Welcome to Fast Track Sports Rack Highlights here on Talk Radio version of the OMSR. I am your brief but concise host, Will, the alternative ESPN Sports Thrill. Always do a little show like this to let you know the clip order coming up and the whys and wherefores. You do get a significantly longer highlights reel that way, plus the quickie sport rant of the segment. Why? Well, that's all due to the fabulous OMSR sponsor being the DMCA. So many thanks to that and all the goodies it covers. All the video highlights courtesy to ESPN and the respective universities. We'll shout out to the NCAA, everything else, to the OMSR. The wherefores. It's that time of year where the OMSR dedicates a lot of time. Dare say 90% of the sports shows on YouTube can't keep pace to the mid-major conference tournaments because the winner gets their big dance ticket punched. In this case, Iona and Manhattan. Alright, so typically, the way college basketball has been working on the OMSR over the years, say like for the last two since Gen 2.0, which the relaunch will have been 2 years ago this August, is to let the on-site commentator team take us through the first half highlights. I always like to try and show you the starting lineups, especially when it's from universities that a lot of us probably haven't seen this year. Might have heard about them, haven't seen them. So that may be some pertinent info. Just you can see the names and understand why so-and-so had X amount of points in the second half. Yes, that's where the OMSR focuses on, second half highlights, because there's just not enough time to bring you a full games with the highlights. Plus, like to keep these shows short and sweet, like the OMSR says, one of many mantras I've developed, in this project over the, the last, it's been 3 years ago this month since Gen 2, or Gen .0, rather. Trying to bring in the best 2 and 3 hour sporting events in only 8 to 12 minutes. It abides with the DMCA. Nobody can bitch and moan about third-party content ID. Certainly not the biggie on YouTube. Ding! Copyright strike and all that. So, pertinent second half highlights coming up. It's difficult to film a vignette from 2 universities, thus their teams. You've never seen before. If I had to do this 10 different times, it would come out 10 different ways. But congrats to Manhattan. Haven't seen in a while. It's been a decade. I just spoiled the movie for you. Alright, that's what's coming up. Thanks for watching. No silly DUIs while you're out there. What was the quickie sport rant of this segment? Yeah, it sort of speaks for itself without me having to spell it out. Okay, roll clips.
It's the second-seeded Manhattan Jaspers versus the top-seeded Iona Gales. As part of Championship Week, presented by Dick's Sporting Goods, we're at the Mass Mutual Center in Springfield, Massachusetts. Iona got here by knocking off 4th-seeded Canisius in yesterday's semifinals, while Manhattan took out Quinnipiac, and they show off tonight for a spot in the NCAA tournament. Welcome, everybody, to Springfield, Massachusetts. Doug Sherman along with former Iona head coach Tim Welsh. Glad you could join us tonight for a chance to see these two teams that were 1-2 in the preseason, 1-2 in the regular season, and now 1-2 in the Maac tournament.
There's no question about it. These are the two best teams in this conference. They're 24-2 over their last 26 games. So you have two red-hot teams that, by the way, Doug, they don't like each other. So this should be really fun.
All right, let's take a look at our one-on-one. Two contrasting styles. Whose will win out?
Well, when you're a good basketball team, you have to have an identity. Both these teams have certain exact identities. Manhattan wants to get after you in the full court, pressure, trap, create turnovers, and get to the free throw line, which they do about 33 times a night. In Iona, they're only going to play about 6 guys, but the running gun is a little bit of a misconception. They make 10 threes a game, but they really share the basketball. Everyone you see that plays for Iona tonight will have a positive assist-turnover ratio.
For the starting lineups, Michael Alvarado will start tonight. He's wearing a face mask after suffering a pretty severe laceration on his face in yesterday's semifinal round, along with Stores, Beeman, Pankey, and Brown. Meanwhile, for Iona, the regular season champs, English, Armand, Poole, Bowman, and Williams. The head coach of the the Jaspers, Steve Masiello, a 2000 graduate of the University of Kentucky in his third year as the head coach at Manhattan. And Tim Cluson, year number 4. He is the first Iona head coach ever to win 20 or more games in each of his first 4 seasons at the New Rochelle, New York. Welcome back to Springfield, Massachusetts. Iona with an 18-16 lead in the Maac championship game. The Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference is an 11-team league this year, and there are a number of natural rivalries from western New York to the Hudson Valley between Siena and Marist. One of the new teams, Quinnipiac in Hamden, Connecticut, not far from here with Fairfield. But there's none like this one, Tim. As you know, Iona and Manhattan don't like each other.
It's only 9 miles. It used to seem like about a 40-mile drive after you come home from Dratty Gym with a loss back to New Rochelle, which we did a few times over the years, battling our old friend Fran Fischella. But just a great rivalry. Tradition beyond second to none in the league, and just the great fan base and support amongst the administrators.
Welcome back to the Maac Championship as part of Championship Week, presented by Dick's Sporting Goods. And welcome back to Springfield, Massachusetts. Doug Sherman along with former Iona head coach Tim Welsh. Well, we talked off the top about which team would be able to impose its will, and so far it's been Manhattan.
Advantage Manhattan because of the fact they've made Iona very uncomfortable in the half court. They haven't created or forced turnovers, but Iona never got into a good rhythm because Manhattan was very active on the perimeter. They rotated the three-point shooters, and then when the ball did come into the paint, they attacked with their shot blockers. Advantage Manhattan defensively with their activity, and then offensively, what do they want to do? They want to get to the free throw line and paint punches, and Iona must get out and force the angles to the perimeter. Manhattan wants to get to the lane, and so far, so good for
Bond again. Inbound comes to Lowry. Up and in. The Gales keep the pressure on. The lead is 3.
Well, Dave Lowry tried to bring the ball up in the first half, and that's not a good recipe to beat Manhattan. That's where that big guy can do some work. And the foul line in.
Manhattan trying to snap an 11-0 Iona run, and they do it with the big fella inside, Ramel Brown.
That was a special move by Brown. Even with the double team, he just attacked the bottom shoulder of Lowry and spun to the weak side.
Senior from Brooklyn now with 10 points. 3 different Jaspers in double figures, and another foul called at this end. Andujar lobs it into Brown. He's double teamed. Nice kick to the corner. Doesn't get much better than that. Richards buries the 3.
Unselfish play. That's the plays that you usually see Iona make. Space the court. Find the 3.
Williams can't answer. Lowry puts it up and in.
Looked like Lowry got away with the travel, but Manhattan just forcing their will on the offensive end without Michael Alvarado on the floor. Looks like that injury to his nose is affecting his play to the point where Steve Masiello is going to keep him on the bench, see if he can win without.
Stores around and out. Andujar tips it back to himself.
And you're allowed to do that when a guy like Rashawn Stores is running your team, because he has played very well on both ends of the floor, playing with a lot of confidence right now.
Feel for a guy like Alvarado, who missed senior night with 1 injury and now not playing nearly as much as he typically would in the Maac finals.
It feels like they're down about 12, but the way they shoot the 3, this is a long way from being over.
Tim, after Lowry had missed his first 5 from the foul line, he just knocked down a pair. Richards, Stores, Andujar, Brown, and Beeman out there in their road green uniforms as the number 2 seed, and Stores is called for traveling.
Very there that you see that at half court, kind of an unforced. He's looking over at Steve Masiello and does a little Manhattan shuffle. Not the opportune time for that. I think I've seen that in a while.
Armand, English, Lowry, Williams, and Bowman. The 5 on the floor for the Gales. Lowry lost it on the way up. And the Jaspers secure possession. Andujar gets both defenders in the air and banks it in.
Quiet for a while, but the Iona killer always available when needed down the stretch for the Jaspers.
Bowman pulls up from the elbow and connects. Timeout, Iona.
Just good patience on the offensive end, and Trey Bowman made a nice move into the gap, little ball fake.
Well, the Jaspers would love to have to update that graphic in just a few minutes. Steve Masiello, as a matter of fact, was an assistant coach under Bobby Gonzalez the last time they went to the big dance back in '04.
Then beating Florida and coming within a late shot of beating the late great Skip Prosser's Wake Forest team with Chris Paul in Raleigh, which would have been one of the greatest upsets ever in the tournament.
Andujar, the trigger man. He doesn't get it in. So they took the timeout to avoid the turnover and then can't get the ball back in.
Well, Iona did a very interesting thing. They didn't put anybody up on Andujar. They had that 5th defender out in the floor just kind of playing as a free safety, Isaiah Williams, and that's where his ability as a defender and his long athleticism comes into play. And now Iona needs to get a good shot. They don't need to rush or take a quick three. They have a lot of opportunity left.
And it's a 2-point
extended out to the 3-point line. They've been there all day game long, but really extended out now, protecting the line, and English does a great job of just going right to the rim to get the quick hit.
First point of the night for Donovan Cates. And the trophy ceremony will be covered exclusively on ESPN3 once we wrap up here on ESPN2 from Springfield. Iona down by 3. Final 10 seconds.
You need the 3 absolutely right now.
Will it be English? Armand trying to free himself. Only 3 seconds to go. Lowry has never made a 3. And the Jaspers win the Maac championship. They're going dancing.
Down the stretch, Doug. Manhattan stuck to their guns. They protected the 3-point line all night long, as good as you can get against one of the best, if not the best, 3-point shooting team in the country. And when they needed a stop at the line, they got it.
And so Manhattan, after falling so close a year ago to these Iona Gales, return the favor, and they get to punch their ticket. 4th time in program history they will go to the big dance as champions of the Metro Atlantic Athletics.